or if I get to dunk on you a little bit. I'm just kidding. I will be very excited if I'm correct, though. Bridge too far, as I push my joke too far, is going to be our map. I'm sorry, Kenny, I love you. Heist is where we're headed. Ready, set. Should be an exciting one. Another relatively open map. I think we're going to see, similar to what we kind of ended our last match with, I think we can see similar drafts.
We can definitely anticipate to see some similar pickups on Bridge Too Far. Of course, there are a few differentials. Wow, that's a landslide prediction for Tribe Gaming. F-Dot, you're going to look
huge.
like galaxy-brained if you turn out being correct here. 6% siding with you. I'm going with the 94% this time. I do place my beliefs firmly with Tribe Gaming, but I'm still excited to see what Mystic has to offer.
Absolutely. And something, sometimes I always like to clarify when it comes down to those polls. 94% of people are leaning towards Tribe, which, like Kenny said, is a great sort of default, but it doesn't mean that those people think that it's 94-6 matchup. These people might think that it's a very tight matchup, but ultimately they select Tribe. So don't be skewed, don't be swayed. I think this one will be pretty close, as the Nani is the first selection here for Tribe Gaming. Banned out kind of all the usual suspects. The Eve is very, very popular on the map because, well, look at it, all that water. She ignores it, so it's awesome. And some of the long-range choices as well.
Yeah. Well, one brawler I don't see in the ban phase, though, is Brock, and I think there's a strong likelihood that that could show up. We'll see Lola from Mystic Esports. This is a favorite of the team. They love playing this brawler. It's also fairly good on this map, though my personal ranking from what I've observed, it's not the best. It's not absolute top tier, but it can sure get the job done, especially if you connect with the safe and if you're able to dodge out some shots effectively. Some other popular brawlers here, though, definitely got to talk about 8-Bit, and then, of course, Colette is in that discussion as well, since Colette counters 8-Bit very, very hard, and he can seriously lay into the safe. One of the things that we see usually dictate some of the pace on this map, there's a Brock that we were talking about, is the fact that it can be quite difficult if you don't have those walls broken down and you're leaning to a pick like Nanny. So Tribe Gaming might be considering that, or they just run Nanny on the wider lane of the left and the right.
I think we can definitely expect a little bit of wall break. I don't think it has to be an all-in strat, but, grab a brawler with some features. I do like the Lola selection a lot, like you said. I just like these players with Lola, but you can get really creative with your ego placement, especially in a very segmented map like this where you have 3 separate lanes very, very divvied up. If you get creative with your ego, you can start to get very, very fun when it comes to those lane matchups, opening the door for some really cool skill expression. So always a big fan of that. 8-Bit here, teamed up with the Nani, and no surprise there, as he's going to be able to just amp everybody up, strong damage onto the objective and otherwise. And the Bell, kind of in the same vein. Long range stuff, strong damage with the assistance of the teammates. I like the draft.
I like the draft from Tribe as well. One brawler, of course, excluded from this is Colette. And I think really Tribe Gaming's idea is that if Mystic Esports decide to go with a Colette, it would be kind of the obvious option into 8-Bit. She would get outranged by 8-Bit and by Bell and by Nanny, so it's going to be pretty much difficult for her to fight any lane except for an 8-Bit. I think that's probably, there we go, going to stave Mystic Esports off from going with that selection, opting instead for a bow, which appears their strategy is primarily going to be placing down those mines at mid and then slowing down 8-Bit. Doesn't have to be mid, just whatever lane 8-Bit is on, it will slow him down a lot. And he's already slow to begin with, so it'll be a serious challenge. I'm liking the draft from Tribe Gaming. It's usually one of my main criticisms of Tribe is that they're working on those drafts a lot. It's definitely a pain point for them, and this looks fairly good for them.
Got to agree for sure, And talking to the guys on Tribe, they'll be some of the first ones to kind of say the same thing. Look, we're great, but sometimes our notebook, our homework isn't always there. And so a strong draft for them, like it for sure. 8-Bit's going to be on the left side with Bell playing mid. So definitely keep an eye on that for sure. Zulon wins the duel, but Zeus wins on the other side. too slow for the left laner to really make use of this opportunity. So 8-Bit will drop the amplifier and just kind of chill.
Killer now putting down those mines on the left side. Zulon has to bait them out, but since he has plugged in, he'll be quite a bit faster, able to bait out these mines way better. Killer now sends his blood in the water. Beautiful stuff, and definitely a mistake for Zulon. He did not intend to stay on top of that mine as long as he did. Tribe Gaming now suffering a deficit as we speak. And Zulon still trying to defend that left lane. This is pretty much what we anticipated as Bo trying to slow down that left side, and he's lining up some good shots. Zulon could have the kill shot, though. Now, especially strafing with those shots, doing a fantastic job. Little teleport in as well as Tyrant starts getting some damage off the safe. Tribe Gaming still at a deficit, though. Someone's on their safe.
Yeah, this was a good call. Mystic was active pretty early and doing a lot of damage to Tribe Gaming. And so when Tribe Gaming got the opportunity to go, you saw as Livy kind of looked to the right, maybe I should play defense, but ultimately chose to be aggressive. And I like that call. The opportunities that Tribe Gaming have been few and far between, so when you have them, you have to kind of make use of them. Whereas when they respawn, then you take care of the aggressor. It's exactly what they've done, and because of it, Tribe Gaming now have the lead, bringing Mystics down to just a third of HP.
Tribe Gaming still trying to hold on, especially on the left side as Zulon has the turret up, and he's not playing like an 8-Bit typically would like to operate on this map. Usually want to be connecting with that safe, but he's doing such a great job in the left lane of playing control that it doesn't even matter, and it's boosting up his teammates as a result, as Livy especially benefiting from this. Tyrant holding on to the right lane, playing the range game. Luffy getting fired up with some of these shots too. And Zeus is going to have to be the last bastion, the one trying to push through. Just 10 seconds left, but there's not enough time and not enough movement for Mystic Esports to make it through. It's a Tribe Gaming victory for game number 1. It looked clean, it looked consistent, and it's a fantastic outlook. Tribe Gaming are just diff.
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta, scoop, go next. Luffy really abused here. Just outranged on this right side. Can't really talk to Tyrant, as Tyrant's just yelling at him from across the field. Zeus trying to deal, again, and I like this call. I think it would have been easier for Zeus to be the target here of Livy, but hey, I can fire 1 or 2 shots at the safe, and those are the windows of opportunity that Tribe Gaming need to look for.
And Tribe Gaming are seriously doing a good job of defending too. See, Mystic Esports, if they just get a few good connections on it, say particularly with Luffy and Zeus, then they can take a massive lead. We already see Luffy's only gotten a bit of damage on that save, or really just a microsecond of opportunity, but it's still taken 18% off. Same goes for Tribe, but only in the case of Zulon. It's all about control for these guys. And here comes the teleport. Tyrant, he has to teleport a bit prematurely since he was getting aggroed by Luffy, switches over to that mid lane on very low health. Luffy trying to engage on the right side. Zulon goes down. Zeus super onto the safe. Is Livy and Tyrant trying to defend mid? Meanwhile, Zeus gets to go crazy. Almost got the kill shot onto Tyrant, but Killer's able to get it done. Trip the nest egg and now goes down. It looks like Mystic Esports are probably going to have to try and defend now. Their times of attacking the enemy safe are done just for now. Tribe Gaming fire back, but Killer is on the tail of Zulon on the right side.
Livy doing a great job of playing mid, finding those pot shots on the safe, but also providing damage to the enemy squads as well. Right now, opting to stay aggressive. 65% remaining for Mystic State, whereas Tribe Gaming a little behind here, as Mystic has been able to do the majority of the damage. But as Livy and Zulon, 2 kills, opens the door, and more damage from the Bell. But again, that's the thing, is you're getting 1 or 2 shots at a time from the Bell. It's not like we're seeing the damage like the Brock Super up north before.
Great play from Tyrant on the left side, too, to take down the Brock. And Zeus now switches over to that mid lane, tries to engage as Livy. He has that super at his disposal. Bit of extra damage on Zulon, might switch over to the right. He has more room to juke things out, but his Livy's aggroing as well. Luffy also marked up with that damage booster, is trying to make his way through, but Tribe Gaming are going to be taking this back. Just 1% difference. Tyrant with the final shot, and as Livy with a bit more to hammer the point home. Tribe Gaming with a 2 earlier, just a couple of matches ago. And it didn't really work out for them because they were playing into very aggressive stuff, and they got a little bit overwhelmed. Tribe Gaming, they shut down every single lane, and while that damage was only gradually trickling in, they were able to surpass what their enemy had there. Ring of Fire coming up next. Here are your friends.
There they are. That's my squad. So Hot Zone one more time. Very eager to see what's going on here. Our bans are standard. No Pocos, no Sams, no Grays, but also the Crow and the Bee. So ultimately, when it comes down to Ring of Fire, Crow is super scary, but any of the assassins can kind of make their mark. But you got to be, again, cognizant of how much area you need to control. At the end of the day, you got to play the point.
Absolutely. You have to place your focus around there, and often, okay, it looks like Tribe Gaming get the idea. That's literally the definition of control on the point. Place down the super, the entire point's blocked off, and hey, maybe even do that a bit more so. Place it closer to the enemy spawn so that you can spawn camp them a little. The spawn trap on this map can be very, very powerful, especially if you have one of your teammates positioned in the enemy bush. You cannot be forced out of that position unless it's by, say, a pinch, really. Because otherwise you're fighting versus an unknown enemy. It's very difficult to flush someone out of there by yourself. So we'll see if there are any of those ideas. Here comes the Meg, a brawler that we usually see banned out here. So now we'll get to see her in action and see what Mystic Esports have in store for us. Love the stew as well. Have touched on this a bit earlier. Typically you want to not feed those supers to the Lu. And if you engage the Lu with stew and sort of dodge back and forth, don't let him hit you. It seems simple, but it's not. You don't feed him the supers. Zeus has to be cautious though. You're relying a lot on your health of consistently getting your supers, getting like 7k health, and being an absolute tank, taking a ton of damage sitting on the point. If you do that into a Lu, then you'll end up feeding more supers, and there's not really much your team can do from there.
Colonel Ruff's going to be selected here to round out the draft alongside Lu. And I mean, we see that we see these combinations a lot for sure. Lu just kind of king of Hot Zone at the moment, and then extra help with area denial as far as like sandbags are concerned for sure. Just really good at creating a base of operations on the point itself. So a nice look for Tribe Gaming so far. And their third selection, the Lola. All right, so we've got just strong DPS. That's the idea, I think, out of the Lola. And so Zeus and Luffy, who are they combining with their Meg and Stu selections?
Well, you have that last pick. It's always a great asset to have on your side. It might be a tough call, however, because Mystic Esports, I mean, typically you don't manage to get the Meg on this map. A lot of times it is banned out because of how strong it is. So if they find something to accent that, be quite powerful. Here's a penny, not necessarily something that's going to be boosting up the teammates, but is going to be something that is quite powerful. Keep in mind, though, Tribe Gaming, they do have Colonel Ruffs on their side. They'll be able to break open walls, and they'll be able to remove some of the areas where Penny is super, super strong. So as far as last picks, it's not the perfect last pick, but it's still a good brawler to have on your side. Also, another thing is that Killer will be able to pierce some of those shots through is Livy's ego, should he have it up in front of himself. So just another thing to note headed into this matchup.
Good one for sure. I think all eyes are on the Meg. This is a brawler that we rarely get to see because she's just banned so often. I think, you know, the fact that she can kind of engage two different ways. She's a stand switcher, essentially, with the mech and without. And I think that dynamic playstyle can really be tough to deal with at times.
Certainly is. We saw it just a moment ago. Zeus on the right side, 3 taps the right lane. Luckily, though, Zulon was able to get a super off of that and breaks open that wall. But Zeus also has a turret up. It's massive control for Mystic Esports, but we still haven't seen Tyrant get a super, and Luffy's doing his best to try and engage that peel Tyrant off of either of his teammates. Killer also has the range advantage, but he also doesn't have a super quite yet. There he is, super active. Luffy trying to make his way away from Tyrant. Tyrant finally manages to fire up that super, but Luffy, he's uncontested. He can be frozen on the point. It doesn't really matter to him, as Livy now stepping into the plate once again could shove him off a little bit. Mystic Esports are looking quite good here. Tyrant chains another super, and it's more control. The backlines of Tribe Gaming are pushed really, really far back.
Zeus gonna fall down here on the right side. Maybe there it is. Tyrant able to finish that one off, and so that opens the door for Tribe Gaming to step forward one more time. Mystic on the back foot for the first time all contest. That said, they're 3/4 of the way through. Lu super, well placed to zone out players from walking up mid, but it's gone now. And so Luffy walking up, pressuring Tribe Gaming off left side, one by Zeus, and they're gonna drop some more damage. Big time for Killer, and gets the kill. That's gonna be enough. Mystic Esports on the point, and they take game 1.
Eventually, Tyrant started to pick up the pace. He started to get going. He had one super chained up after the other consistently. However, Mystic Esports, they had Tribe Gaming closed in their spawn, and it was too much percentage captured by that point for Tribe Gaming to really fire back. We see once again, though, Zeus engages the right side. Last time he got to ambush Zulon, and he's going to get the kill again. Zeus has been consistently winning lane versus Zulon, and that is a huge, huge spectacle, though it's sort of what you expect, too. It's the Penny versus the Colonel Ruffs. Zulon cannot use any sandbags versus him. Zeus once again tapping up Tyrant. This is picture perfect from Mystic.
Luffy hasn't had to do anything all game. And that's a good thing, because his two teammates are just zoning while the Stew sits on the point. Meg is just running. Honestly, he's playing free safety. He's not even sticking to a lane. Just kind of attacking whoever needs to be attacked, sometimes sitting on the point when things get hairy. And usually when things get hairy, it's off of Tyrant. We're seeing a lot of the Lou Supers kind of push players out. But Mystic Esports, this is what they do. They take one step out, and they get stepped on while the Lou Super's up. But then it's down, and Mystic are really able to kind of deal with it well.
They might finally meet some stiff opposition, though Zeus is trying to line up these shots onto his Livy. He positions that Killer behind the wall. Killer also on the left side, yeah, just being an absolute menace, a total pest inside of these bushes. When he gets popped out of the mech, he's not going to have much health, and Tribe Gaming are well aware, and he is too. He needs to play it safe. He's still a swipe on a Zulon. They're camping these bushes. It is so difficult to remove them. Killer with another swipe. This is why Meg is banned so often. Zulon's trying everything in the playbook. He'll finally get that kill on a Killer. Is Livy not sneaking past so easily on the right side? Or maybe so. Luffy trying to deal with the 1v3 now, has that super, dashes right into his Livy. Killer just needs to survive for a bit longer. No mech required. Mystic Esports take a 2-0 in Hot Zone.
And again, this is similar to what we saw when we had the conversation with Stu and with Max. Sometimes it is that simple, and denying super really just comes down to, piloting your character in a three-dimensional event. Don't get hit, dude. All right, next up, we've got Bounty. And it's on Canal. Reddy, how do you say the name of this map?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you got to pick your words carefully here. If you ask me, I'm from Texas. We got the Rio Grande. This is Canal Grande. But if you're not me, you probably say Grande because, well, that's the actual Spanish.
You're like Ariana.
And maybe out of respect for Mystic Esports, Spanish-speaking team by and large, I ought to say Grande, but yeah, I'm still from Texas. I'll say Grande.
Oh.
Point, nah.
Like,
you'll never get me to say Grande instead of Grand, bro.
Well, Janet is going to be speaking up today. Tyrant first selection overall here for Tribe Gaming. As when we look at Canal Grande, it is largely.
Thank you.
One of my favorite things about this map is we largely play the lanes up down, right, rather than west to east. So. Might change things up a little bit. No Squeak because of how small that middle is. Squeak can really just kind of shut down anybody's plan to walk there in the mid, so they'll be gone. But the Penny selection overall, never going to argue with it, especially on this map. So many places to put your turret.
Pretty much a lot of geography to take advantage of here, especially when you're on Penny. But of course, Penny's going to be good versus some tanks if they want to get up in your face. You got a Salty Barrel ready. Tribe Gaming gets a little bit tricky. Of course, Mystic Esports have already gotten rid of the Gene, so no necessity there for using a Salty Barrel to block a pull, but still just a good all-around brawler, especially if you need to block a little bit of extra damage. Here's the Otis from Mystic Esports too. Just, once again, a good all-rounder. They're saving that last pick for something a little spicy. And keep in mind, only one thrower has been banned out. Mystic have gotten rid of Tick, which means that Sprout's pretty much going to be the most viable thrower here. If not Grom, they could really go for either, but Sprout might be more optimal for blocking enemies inside their own spawn. Carl is going to be a great way of dealing this. He's also going to be able to grab that blue star right off the beginning of the match.
Carl does really well on Canal Grande in my experience of watching. Just, Flying Hook just allows you to traverse the map a lot. And like I said, Carl is just hard to call him an evergreen character because he is a little bit different, but usually gets things done. And the Lou, the ice cream man, shows up and will be serving. And again, Kenny really brought it up, how Lou has just become more and more of a standard pick. Listen, if you got choke points, I'm ready to give you a brain freeze. So I like the Lou selection, and I like the big adoption rate of Lou for sure.
Lou's a favorite brawler of mine just because it can be so disrespectful to lock people in place, and it's a great way to counter out tanks, but Mystic Esports, either they didn't get the memo, or they think they can just do tank better, pretty much. They're going to be having to dodge out a lot of these shots from his Livy, or whoever picks up the Lou. We saw Tyrant play it in that last set, but it's going to be difficult, that is without a doubt. Here's an important thing to note, though. No wall break on Tribe Gaming. They have absolutely zero wall break. If they don't get that middle area off the beginning of the match, or they don't do the impossible and take it back from an Ashe, then they can expect to sit in their spawn for a good part of the match.
Yeah, that is true. We'll have to keep an eye out. Left side, Tribe Gaming coming out of the top side in red. Tribe Gaming grouped up, looking for Killer. Probably the right choice, as the blue star is in the hands of Tribe Gaming. Like we said, that Carl going to be able to pick that one up nice and easy. So now it's up to Mystic to kind of be the aggressors here. And that's what they're going to do. Stepping up forward on the left-hand side. But slowed down, stunned, and gunned. Not able to be dropped, though. Whoa. Killer stays alive, turns it around, and Zulon is the one to fall first. But an answer back thanks to the super. So it's 3-2, Tribe in the lead.
Now, Luffy caught up in the cold snap, but still they're able to bounce back. They're camping Tribe Gaming in their spawn. Killer, he can't really commit too hard. He doesn't want to give any supercharge to Zulon. Luffy also trying to take down Zulon as Livy circles overhead. Now focusing on Zeus. Tyrant, no attacks required. If you're silenced, that super keeps spinning, and he's able to take the right lane as a result. Tribe Gaming, they maintain their lead, but they also take the right side as Livy, he's really fighting for his life, able to get a super off that last shot and escape, but now they're running for the hills immediately all the way back to spawn. Zulon almost taken down. Here's a super to block things up, almost a freeze onto Zeus. There it is, and the final shot's coming through, but no Cigar, never mind, as Livy takes him down, and Tribe Gaming with 30 seconds on the clock still maintain a lead, only by 2 stars taken back by Mystic Esports. It is back and forth like nobody's business, but 20 seconds is just enough time for Tribe to bring it back.
Coming down to the wire here, and Mystic has the lead. Tribe Gaming going to have to jump in around this single-digit mark so they can get their kill and not be returned on. Tyrant flying hook in, taking some damage before he can even reach Luffy. Ooh. There's the super, down he goes!
Beginning of the match, they were facing Tribe Gaming with a free blue star. Tribe, they're going to consistently get that blue star. It looks like Tyrant has opted not to do that this time, though. Not going for the blue star, now it goes to Mystic, and Mystic has the lead off the bat. They still have to stave Tribe Gaming away from this mid area as Livy survives with just a shred of health, no doubt assisted by the drop the base gadget on the left side. So trying to take on Killer once again, now with a lane swap of sorts and getting some entry damage onto Luffy and Zeus, also setting up Zulon for a bit of success on the left side, but Mystic Esports still at the lead, even if it is just by 1 star. They can camp here for the entire game and they'll be just fine doing that, but could be forced out by Zulon, especially as he's circling on the left side. Could get a freeze versus Killer. Here it is, a super popped by Killer, and another super down. Zulon freezes him up. Killer takes the lead as well. What an interaction on the left side.
The turnaround there was dirty. Killer getting that W. Doesn't even matter if he's stunned. That's the tank work. As Tyrant gets killed, was able to reciprocate. So it's a lot to a little with a baker's dozen on the side of Mystic Esports, and Tribe with just 4. Killer is really stepping up there, and he's worth 5 stars. But at this point, Mystic Esports almost triple of what Tribe has. Still a lot of bounty to be played. There's over half a minute. That's an eternity in this game mode specifically. But at the end of the day, right now, Mystic Esports has a large hill to stand on.
But they also can't afford to play so aggro. They're already backing up Tyrant, coming in from behind, trying to take down Luffy like now as this Livy's going to land soon. Here it comes, big connection. But Mystic Esports are still in the lead. Killer, Zeus, safe on the back lines. 3 stars is what separates Tribe Gaming from bringing it back. Zulon and his Livy trying to push in. 5 seconds. Tyrant has no gadget, need damage. Killer's gonna go down, but it's a sacrifice. Zeus and Luffy remain alive, and Mystic Esports take yet another 2-0 set.
And Mystic Esports now are a set of too far, and then all of a sudden it was a 2-star game. They noticed that, and they were like, oops, let's try that again without the oops. And they kind of stuck to it, and it looked good. But coming up next, we've got Sneaky Fields. And just reminding you folks, 94% of chat went with the folks that are losing big picture. 6% of us, I say us because I'm on that side, went with Mystic. And as I mentioned coming into this one, Brawl Ball looked like the most dominant game mode for this team in their way to the grand finals in that semis versus Chazmac. And I want to see him do it again here. Killer with the first selection. Otis snapped in.
Let's take note of something, though. Mystic Esports, they don't have last pick here, and typically that's where they can thrive because Killer is fantastic at these tanky brawlers, particularly Ashe. This should be no surprise, though. Tribe Gaming, once again, going with the loot fairly early on. It's great versus tanks. It's just a fairly decent all-around brawler on Sneaky Fields, but the main objective is to make it work against the tanks. I think we even saw Tribe Gaming play this at Worlds, and they were still able to pull off some pretty good moves in the absence of facing tanks. So I'm definitely looking to them to make this brawler work its hardest. But we still have another choice here. Rico is their selection. This is one where it's not really my favorite pick. I feel like there are some better options that they could go for, but that's what they're comfortable on. Oftentimes, that is what works. But I think this is a bit of a questionable pick. Mystic Esports can certainly take advantage of it, but Tribe Gaming are gearing up to deal with tanks, and Mystic Esports might actually be out of options.
You'll see. Counting down here. And at the same time, as Janet selected here for Mystic, Tribe Gaming, I think they need a little bit of additional wall break. And so if I'm Mystic, that might be something I'm thinking about. There's so many variables to digest when you're going into picks and ban phase, because not only do you have to think about your comp and maybe how it counters the enemies, I love this Rosa selection, but also all of the implications therein. So I like Rosa. Not only is she going to be a tank, but she obviously does well in on a map like Sneaky Fields. I think this is a great choice for Mystic Esports.
Agreed, and I think it also takes advantage of something that is indicative in Tribe Gaming's comp, especially with the selection of Rico, is that they're not super keen to be breaking down walls. Otherwise, Rico's going to suffer big time. And if they want to break down walls, they're going to have to break down bushes too. So this will be something that could hurt them. Here comes the Ashe from Tribe Gaming. They're taking advantage of having that last pick. We've seen Zulon on this brawler from time to time. I just wonder if he'll be able to make it work today.
I'm glad you said it. Zulon, I like Zulon on other brawlers. That's my statement here. I like Zulon on some of the other brawlers. When I look at the Rico, it's this wall on the left side. I kind of want to shove Rico on the left or right, break those two blocks and allow him to use the side wall to actually leverage that range. We'll see how it works out in the middle, because on the right-hand side, we'll get use of all this geometry for sure. But one more time, Luffy's able to push up first. Killer gets the kill on the left-hand side. And help from mid opens the door. Respawns are coming. And just like that, Mystic realizes the window isn't open as large as it might be. But we're not playing in the mid anymore. We're on Tribe's side.
It looked for a moment there like Killer intended to pick up the ball, but stopped just short and had to about face, run things back. Couldn't make it all the way there, but still, they forced Tribe Gaming into not the greatest of positions, as Livy's still prepared to defend for as long as he needs to. Zeus gets the silence as Livy's going to fall. Tyron and Zulon, the last bastions of defense on the side of Tribe Gaming. They're all getting cornered in. Here are the rats. Killer quickly disposes of them. Zeus and Luffy gearing up for defense, a takedown to Zulon. But now Tribe Gaming are staggered. This might not be what Mystic Esports want, but they clobber the team. A pass over the right could lock this one in. Zulon respawns just in time. Good shots from as Livy forced them back. And the stagger seems to be a bit too much for Mystic Esports to deal with. They lose so much control. Two brawlers fall. Luffy trying to grapple for absolutely anything he can, but it's not quite fast enough. And Tribe Gaming now take the control of it.
little bit of chaos there. Like you said, staggered kills, but there might have been an opportunity, but it looked like there was a stutter step. Because of that, Mystic Esports, not only do they lose their opportunity, but they give Tribe an opportunity of their own. And it's Tribe Gaming, the first ones on the board here. A goal for the red team. We start off anew.
Mystic Esports, they sort of got caught up in the offense and they could not retreat without all going down, and it reached a critical point. They all fell. Tribe Gaming were able to break through all of those cracks that formed in the defense along the way. Is Livy on the left side, though, trying to force back Mystic Esports once again. Killer pushing in, he gets frozen, has another super ready to chain. Goes for Zulon now for Tyrant. Tyrant has another super as disposal, but he doesn't throw it down. Zeus and Luffy trying on the left side. Get rid of Zulon, they're not quite able to do it. Is Livy at their back, still trying to peel, get some assistance on the right side. Destruction by Is Livy. The takedown to Zeus on the left side. The clock ticks down, and Mystic Esports have an impossible comeback, 10 seconds. And Tribe Gaming, they're not letting this ball go anywhere. It's gotta be a win in the bag.
This is kind of the opposite of what we saw. That second opportunity that they had, they kind of fumbled a little bit. It was a little bit about the stagger, but also a little bit about the way they approached. So they just kind of dropped the ball, like quite literally. And ever since then, they went in one by one by one. Whereas here, this is more of the gameplay that Mystic want to see, this team-oriented gameplay, where they're able to kind of get this team wipe. Luffy's going to be able to push forward. Zeus is here to do damage, but with Edge up, the defense is good, and will ultimately get a reset.
Slight miscalculation there. They thought they could all tank Zulon, but he filled his rage meter while he was attacking all of them. He was able to pump out 3,000 damage in a single blow. Good game sense there by Zulon, attacking them both at the same time so they couldn't leverage their health pool to score a goal and walk it in. Killer also kind of feeding some of these rage bars on the right side. Luffy has to land back in position, but he's right inside of the freeze. Pockets it in the right side. Zulon, an easy pass over the left side. This one's for Tyrant. Walks it right in, and Tribe Gaming start off this game with a nice goal.
Doing well here. Tribe Gaming doing kind of exactly what they need to do to Mystic is disrupt, put them on their back foot. And Mystic, a well-coordinated team like this, when they're not able to be coordinated, might just beat themselves. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing, is that when they sort of get, thrown off and put in a tizzy, they have a hard time coalescing back and figuring it back again. Tank on tank. Killer wins, but dies after the fact. Luffy tries to step up.
Tribe Gaming still maintaining control of mid 2. Here comes the silence. Tyrant sort of left out to dry. Luffy and Killer now on the right side can push through. Zulon heals up with his final gadget. There are 40 seconds left in the game, so there is an opportunity for Mystic Esports to diff that matchup on the right. They're going to keep on chipping him down, maybe go to the back right. Big Hail Mary play for Luffy, but at least he gets the ball out of the back right corner. Tyrant's probably going to pop it right back in. That's an SK play right there. And Tyrant and Zulon try to defend with their life. Big freezes. They shut it down. Just 15 seconds left. A countdown active. Mystic Esports pretty much all left on defense. No mobility up the field. Tribe Gaming, they've done a great job with the Lu this time.
Insane play out of Tribe. And this just goes to show you, man, that all of the educated guesses, all of the in-game play, a couple of it, not just the Brawl Ball stuff, but some of the other sets that we got a chance to watch, they almost looked like they were on a foosball stick, where they all moved together. And last one, the ants go marching one by one. Just not great, Bob. So we'll see if things turn around here in Knockout. We head to Gold Arm Gulch. No Fang, no Brock, no Tick, no Gray, no Mandy, no Brawl.
And it looks that Mystic Esports, they have that first pick, so once again, they might be at a slight disadvantage here. I'll tell you one pick Mystic Esports have seriously put to work on this map, though, and that's Daryl. And if they choose this brawler later on in the draft, they could absolutely surprise Tribe Gaming with it. Usually, you might want to go for a thrower as your last pick if that is something that your enemies are vulnerable against. They have nothing that can break down walls. Or you can also go for something like Fang that Mystic Esports have prudently banned out that can get in close range versus some brawlers that are particularly squishy and cannot fend for themselves in close range. Mystic Esports, they start off with a Gene. I definitely like this brawler. It's a strong one. Especially, it can suss out enemies inside those bushes on the right side using vision gear and provide some good visibility for everyone. That plus do very well versus throws, which interestingly enough, Tribe Gaming are deciding to go for fairly early on. I wonder what they got planning here, because you almost never go for that brawler so early.
It's definitely an interesting one. And there can be benefit to, a lot of times you want your first pick to be a little bit ambiguous so your opponent doesn't know. But the other side is, I mean, you are playing with your hand face up, as I often like to say. You're telling the opponent the strat, which might goad them into picking the counter to that strat that you have already Omega brained out that you're going to counter the counter, right? And so by picking such a definitive character like Sprout, you're definitely sort of setting the tone for what's going down. With the Piper selection, I mean, Tribe Gaming are goated at Piper. That really is just what it comes down to. I think that's the entire science behind that selection. Ready?
I mean, this is as Livy's signature brawler, right? And we used to see Zulon a lot on the Piper before as Livy started rocking the stage on this brawler. Here's the Daryl. I mean, this is precisely what I was talking about. Mystic Esports, they love this brawler in general, but on Goldarm Gulch, they have really, really done a good job so far. Here's a Squeak as well. One thing that does worry me a little bit for them is if Tribe Gaming, say, pick Otis or just a good all-around tank counter, not only is it something they're comfortable on, but also it would be kind of difficult for a killer to face versus if that Otis farms up the super, and then killer has no way to attack once he rolls in. But I'm looking at Zulon, I'm looking at Tyrant. These are both brawlers that are very, very vulnerable to close-range attacks from Daryl. Here's the Pam. And this is probably their secret weapon. They're looking to use Scrap Sucker, perhaps, to deal with that. And also, this is something that we haven't seen on this map in, I think, a good few months, is the strategy of let's wait out the match, let's push it till all that gas is in the middle, and then we'll use Pam and we'll use Sprout to maybe lock you out of mid or have way better survivability in mid for the endgame.
Should be a lot of fun. I think Mystic Esports comes with a very Mystic Esports draft. You know what I mean? This is their cup.
Very much could be, especially as they have that Daryl on the left side.
Definitely going to keep our eye on Killer. Such a big presence in some of the earlier maps, specifically on tank characters. Played the Ashe really well in Brawl once upon a time, so definitely want to see what the Daryl doing.
Tribe Gaming still maintaining control on the right side. Very slow-paced game so far, as Livy and Tyrant are playing for the control more than anything else. As Zeus, he's trying his best to get some chip shots off. And surely by the time Poison is closed in, he will have a super at his disposal, which means that as Livy or Zulon are going to have to bait those out. Zulon has a turret that he can sacrifice to block it, and as Livy's able to vertical super up. Bit of a wasted homemade recipe there by as Livy, but that might come back to bite him too. Zulon closing it on the left side. Killer rolls right through, goes for Tyrant, goes to the Poison. Zulon also outranged, outdone, zoned towards the top, and as Livy falls in turn, Mystic Esports start off this game with a round victory.
Yeah, I got a little scared when Killer Daryl rolled in by himself into two players, and then he won. I mean, Luffy helped out for sure, but that looked a little spooky. Mystic Esports going to work early here, getting round number 1, round 2 just starting. Tribe Gaming relinquished up there to that northeast quadrant. And Mystic trying to find their spot. You said before that it was a little passive, waiting for that gas to kind of close up. That's kind of what Tribe wants to do with the Pam, but Mystic seemed totally fine with that approach as well.
Oh yeah, once things are closed in, they have a couple of options. Killer can roll in and get some great damage in close range, or you can bring your enemies to you, have Zeus pull him through. But Zeus pulling towards Luffy might be a bit of a bold play, though Killer's still lurking in the bushes. We see wall break on the right side. This Livy clearing things out on their side. Mystic Esports, they're hanging onto these walls as long as they can, but with all of this fire raining down upon them from the right side, it's going to be tough. Here comes the hedge. They're all pouring on the left side. Big pull for Zeus, and a takedown. It looks like Zulon and as Livy on the top right side are completely vulnerable. Vertical super for his Livy, and lands right.
I think it was just today that I said, when I see a Gene, it's a Gene comp. This is not a Gene comp. the Gene got them out of jail. Sprout locked him in, and all right, that's how we get out. We'll break the Sprout wall with that Gene pull. Really, really well done there by Zeus, being patient, hanging on to the super. Now, the opposite of what we've seen, it is so aggressive here in the early stages of round number 1. Quite literally the opposite of what we've seen, where it's just been very passive until the later stages of the round. Instead here, right off the rip, and some early wall break from Penny. So his Livy might have a better time this time around. Piper, excuse me.
Has me scratching my head a little bit too. Is Mystic Esports, it's hard to tell whether they or Tribe Gaming are dictating the pace of this game here, because Tribe, they tried to play a control game last time, it simply didn't work. Here's a hedge in from Tyrant to block things off on the left. We get some easy free shots off of Luffy and Zeus. Good takedown on Killer on the left side. Zeus sort of left out to dry as well. Right between Tyrant and Zulon. Try not to feed the super to Zulon, but it goes his way anyway. Tribe Gaming take the very first round. They have 1, 2, 3 supers on their side, and it's just a good all-around outlook for them. But Mystic Esports, they're not making the same decision as last time. Now moving up around the left side, 2 supers in hand. They would love to pull anyone on Tribe Gaming. However, Zulon and his Livy might not be the best targets. If they can pull Tyrant, it's a great situation for them. Here comes the hedge, and maybe Tribe Gaming are going to try and bait it out.
I think that was the call. Tribe Gaming saw that the Zeus pull was going to be used to kind of counter that Sprout, but Sprout dropped it a little early, and Mystic just kind of said okay and waited it out. Not that threatening of a situation as opposed to last time where they got quartered in there with the gas. Killer making his way up north with Luffy, and that's where Killer was really effective last time around. It's Zeus down the bottom that gets the kill though, and now it's a 3-on-2 for Mystic.
Killer can roll on any target. Here he comes for his Livy. A super for his Livy, but he doesn't really have anywhere to go. Zulon falls in turn, and his Livy, the last one to go into the poison. Mystic Esports leading by 1 game. If they take this round, they win the match. They win the monthly finals. Tribe Gaming can still extend it and push it just 1 step further, but they have no supers to make it happen. They have no way of blocking Zeus's pull as we speak. No super for his Livy, no super for Zulon. Killer is on the top side. His Livy looking quite lonely on the right side, but Tribe Gaming still sort of converge and congeal as 1 unit. But if his Livy is left alone, it's a perfect target for really anyone to go for, even the pull from Zeus.
Supers all aboard here for Mystic. Just waiting for the perfect opportunity to really all in. Again, has to be that teamwork. They've got to find the all-in moment. And now they're put under duress, and Zeus barely alive. Good shots again. I think it was Ez Livy that's doing work here. Charged up the super. But Killer looking for the topside flank. Being kept at a distance by Tyrant, and we're losing ground. Luffy getting shot here, but Killer on the top, distracting 2 separate players. Luffy's trying to find the kill onto his Livy. Pop, pop, pop. Mystic